Hello, my name is Deirdre. Some may know me as the girl with the car, or have just called me Dee for short. I was invited here today to share my story. I've asked myself, why bother sharing my story to a crowd of people I don't know? I've even asked myself if the people that sit before me even care. But I decided that I'm going to take a chance and talk about the few things the foster care system failed to provide me. Besides the system forcing me to have trust and abandonment issues, it also forced me to have to fight for my safety, for love, for a voice, and for the need to feel wanted and loved. I was born and raised in South Central Los Angeles. I lived with my mother and my siblings for the earlier years of my life. My mother had her ups and downs, but she hustled to the end. When I was 7 years old, my sister and I were placed in the foster care system. We lived in 4 homes. Whenever I talk about the first home, I call it the collection house, because they were collecting children to collect checks. Because they were in the home, we had one room where the 7 or 8 of us had to sleep between 3 bunk beds. The home was located in a bad neighborhood where we knew who the prostitutes were across the street. We were aware of the drug dealers by name and had the procedure on what to do during a drive-by down to a science. The foster home did what it had to do, but it failed to protect me. In order for me to be safe, I had to learn it, because failing at it wasn't an option. The second home was in a nice house in a nicer neighborhood. The house had a big front yard with green grass and a pretty porch with flowers. I remember getting to this house and thinking everything will be okay here. But it wasn't until I truly met the couple who lived there to know otherwise. They would always tell my sister and I that everything they do was because they loved us. So when we were forced to eat just beans every day, or get beat with rolled up newspapers, or being blamed for things out of our control and punished for it, it was because they loved us. I remember getting hit with the newspaper because it rained. It was because of that home I knew that my understanding of love would be tarnished if I didn't fight to find it. The third home was odd, even I knew it as a child. It was in a gated community and the adults were never home. I remember they had a teenage daughter who practically took care of us. She would tell me to do things because it will make me happy. If I were to object or question her, she would yell at me and tell me to shut up. One day, before she slapped me across the face for asking a question, she told me she wanted to take my voice away because that would make me happy. It was then I stopped asking questions and speaking up. I didn't want to get hit again. That home took my voice, and I've been fighting for it ever since. My 4th placement was the longest. We were placed with our second cousin, her husband, and children. When my cousin's husband would get upset, he would yell at her. It would get so bad that he would hit her or wave his gun around to threaten her. During those times, I would force my sister to stay quiet and hide in the closet while I hid under the bed, because I knew before harming any of his children, he would harm us first. I would watch as the cycle of abuse would continue and our cousin would take him back. But what I remember the most was not feeling wanted. Their family would do and have all these fun things. My sister and I had to either stay behind to clean, be locked outside to play, or locked in a room just so they can have their fun family time. I left that house not feeling any ounce better than I did going in. When I aged out of the system, I was a mess. I had no self-esteem, no confidence. I went to college, and I was honestly there in the beginning for the housing. Some years passed, and I found my way to Volunteers of America Transitional Housing Program for former foster youth, known as the DOFL. Being at this program was the first time I felt like I was going to be okay in a long time. It was there where I met incredible staff like Janice, Tisha, Z, Stephanie, and Brad, who encouraged me and allowed me to have the time and space I needed to work on my moral injuries. VOA presented me with employment opportunities and allowed me to be me. It was there I was able to reflect on my life and see that despite my circumstances, I have been blessed with resilience and success. The program helped me see the good moments in my life. I was able to avoid the negative influences of my environment. At the completion of elementary school, I ranked in the top 10 of my class. In middle school, I graduated valedictorian. In high school, I ranked in the top 20 of my graduating class. I got into and graduated from Mills College in pre-nursing studies. I graduated from Sac City with an AA in social science, and I was accepted and doing well at Sac State at the time.
Yeah.
Along the way, I made lifelong friends. I gained a second family, and I have been honored with at least 10 scholarships, given several awards, and have given back to other foster youth by sharing my knowledge and experience. It was because of VOA I realized that I could start to find peace. I was winning. Today, I stand before you victorious, humble, and blessed. Because of everything that happened, I was able to graduate from Sac State, magna cum laude, with a bachelor's degree in social work. I was hired at Alta California Regional Center as a social worker, working with adults with developmental disabilities, and had the opportunity to share my story to a crowd of people who may or may not care, because it was something I wanted to do in hopes that you support this incredible organization. Thank you.